Tata Steel is the oldest and largest steelmaker of India. Over 100 years ago, the founder, Jamsetji Tata, set out to make steel and, as importantly, lessen poverty and suffering at the same time. The purpose of industry for him was to benefit the society. This core value still informs the actions of Tata Steel even today. The idea of Tata Parivar or Tata family is central to the company's philosophy. It views the communities around the plant as belonging to the greater Tata family, a family to which Tata Steel is deeply committed to.
When it comes to Tata Group or to Tata Steel, is something which is coming right from our founder. This is respect for the human beings and leadership trust.
These are the forests and mountains in the Indian state of Jharkhand and Odisha. This landscape hides the country's overwhelming deposit of mineral resources that lie underground, as well as being home to many tribes, whose lives are barely above subsistence levels. The great challenge is to exploit the rich land and improve living conditions of the largely poor tribes at the same time.
धूली दूसर भोक जोक भी होना चढ़ई आप बोभईवाटा जापारे नहीं कहीं चढ़ई मैंने खावा को न पाइक कड़े को सब चलीगले जोटा मयूर बहुत रोते आगे से मयूर भी आजिकल जंगल में ब्लास्ट हो प्रदूषण एत जोर होटा टाटार तार सिस्टमेटिक भाव लोकों करे जो टाटा जो आगे रहा लेबर मान जोटा कि देखा गले टाटा ही लेबर मान पक्का घर करे आउ सब आज भी देखिए आपण मैंने झाटी माटी जहाँ ता परिवेश लेबर मान रखती किंतु टाटा कंपनी एमती जहाँ ता नुहे गरीब लोक जमी रहतु कि पक्का घरे तापाई पानी थी पिला पढ़ाई घर थी एमती तार क्वार्टर गुड़ाक पक्का क्वार्टर।
One of the key resources in the steelmaking process is coal. Coal is needed to make coke, which fires the blast furnace for melting iron ore. While some mines are underground, these mines in West Bokaro are open cast. The process involves drilling, blasting and scraping out coal. This is then graded and the finest coal is dispatched by energy-efficient means to the steel plant. Tata Steel sources most of the iron ore it requires from its captive mines in Noa Mundi. Here, special measures ensure noise suppression, dust reduction and reuse of materials and water. Mining places obvious strains on the environment, particularly after the mine becomes obsolete. However, the company pay close attention to ensuring that mining has a minimal lasting impact on the environment. Tata Steel goes beyond statutory requirements to return disused mines to their previous state.
We have been, as you know, mining for the last 100 years. And for the 100 years we have been conscious of the environment and the damage that mining causes to it, and therefore take very proactive steps in terms of covering the damage, so to say, as it means so. We have many successes of the past. And I think one that I would like to highlight is the closing of mines or re-greening of our iron ore mines which are there in Noa Mundi.
At Noa Mundi, hills 1 and 2 have been planted with a variety of trees and only scattered ruins of buildings bear witness to the mining operations here some years ago.
Which has been a UN-aided project and heavily lauded all over the world for it being a unique expertise. In fact, the forests there are thicker than the original forest.
The Memorial Park here at Dorabji is home to many species of butterflies and is a place of recreation and remembrance.
As I mentioned to you, that it is an unending exercise and continuously we have to be on the improvement path and innovate and figure out newer methods of maintaining even better and better environmental standards.
Once the coal and iron ore are brought together in the steelmaking process, the emphasis remains on maximising production and sustainability. Tata Steel is committed to playing an active and constructive role in addressing climate change, both by reducing its own carbon footprint and by creating high-performance steels that will make it possible to produce lighter, more fuel-efficient vehicles and energy-efficient buildings. Having already halved the amount of energy needed to make a ton of steel over the last 40 years, the company has set itself a target of reducing CO2 emissions by a further 20% within the next decade. The archive at Jamshedpur houses invaluable documents charting the development of Tata Steel and its measures to safeguard workers' health, safety, working conditions and prospects. It is interesting to note that some of Tata Steel's practices in workers' welfare were adopted nationally and internationally many years later. Within the company, Tata Steel continues their ethos of inclusion. It is imperative that their employees feel valued by the company. This strong and positive relationship between the company and those it employs means that in Tata Steel's history there has only been one industrial dispute, and that happened more than 70 years ago. This is largely in part due to an important understanding put in place by the management and union.
We have a very good system here which was being agreed in 1957 that all the decisions will be taken between the union and the management by mutual agreement.
Working practices have developed loyalty between company and workers in both directions. It is not unusual to find instances of generations within families working at the company.
Presently I am working in Sinter Plant 3 as an associate. As my father said, he also started his career as an artisan trade apprentice and retired, in fact leave the company as a foreman.
I joined Tata Steel in January 2009. This is my third generation. One reason is the family is in the Tata Steel. For promotion, everybody is having the opportunity.
And this commitment by certain families certainly looks set for the future.
Would you like your son to join Tata when he's older?
Definitely.
Yeah?
Definitely, if he will get a good opportunity.
That's very good. And would you like your grandson to join Tata?
Of course.
Yeah?
Of course. We are totally dedicated to Tata.
Health and welfare of neighbouring communities are of central concern to the company. Hospitals run by the company generally are well equipped and have a full complement of technical personnel. The quality of care and treatment makes these hospitals of choice for employees and non-employees alike. In many areas where Tata Steel is established, these medical centres take the place of government hospitals.
Okay, almost every one of you has taken the second.
Access to education is a precondition of an equitable society. Setting up and maintaining well-resourced schools are high on the list of priorities of the company, bringing sound education within reach of tribal children. Tata Steel provides the buildings, the teachers, and the various resources such as textbooks needed. Education is provided for children of all ages, as well as provision for adult education. The Tribal Culture Centre was established as part of the wider educational strategy. This centre contains artefacts and items that demonstrate the way of life of the many tribes that inhabit the region. It helps to keep the sense of tradition among the young.
सर माने आगुरी हम जे टाटा स्टील शिफ्टिंग हेबा पूर्व 3 डे की 4 डे पे हमको टाटा स्टील जमशेदपुर निया जायतिला
अच्छा सर
तो आमे सेठी विजिट करथुलु तो टाटा स्टील सोनारी ट्राइबल कल्चरल सोसाइटी जो अछि आमे सेठी की जाय कि माने सेमानकर जो रीति नीति एमानकर जो पुराना एते आदिम आदिवासी मानकर जो कल्चरल लियोगा सेमाने वर्तमान पर्यंत टाटा स्टील सेमाननको प्रोत्साहन दे आसुची जे एई जो कल्चरल सिस्टम गुरा हमर आदिवासी मानकर अछि सेटा को आगु को भी माने एमिति रहिथिबो
अच्छा
At Kalinganagar, Odisha, where Tata Steel's first greenfield integrated steel plant is taking shape, a unique programme of social inclusion, Tata Parivar, or the Tata family, has taken the notion of belonging a step further.
टाटा परिवार रे वर्तमान जो योजना करिसेंती सेटा भी भलो करूछन जेहेतु मु संगरे अछि सबुटा भूल टुले भी मु ता गाइड करूछि जोटा के टाटा कंपनी जीवन प्रत्येक लोकों को पाखरे जो कला अच्छी से कलार विकास कर प्रत्येक क्या छाड़ू ना माने पाठ न पढ़ी किए सिलाई शिखी किए चित्र अंकन शिखी किए तो चाष विषय शिखी किए तो विभिन्न रकम से जो रकम से करा खूब भल कर टाटा परिवार बर्तमान तो समाधान पूरा है नहीं से कम करने सघन रूप से नहीं आ मुझे कहूली मोर गोटे से अंचल आश्रम रहा दरकार.
All displaced families who have had to give up their land for the plant have a guaranteed charter of benefits, which include a generous scholarship scheme to help young people on to professions.
से समय टाटा तरफ जो शिक्षा वृत्ति बोली गोटे स्कॉलरशिप बोली गोटे स्कीम थिला.
अच्छा
जो जो माने डिस्प्लेस होतले से मान जो माने इंजीनियरिंग कि मेडिकल एमबीए करथले तांको में पूरा से खर्च बहन करिए बोली से प्रतिश्रुति देइथिल.
अच्छा अच्छा
तो सेटा मो पे अपॉर्चुनिटी हे गला आ वेट न करी कि मु भाबली.
Young people who show talent for sports such as football and archery are given coaching, and some have gone on to win national competitions and represent India abroad. A fairer society is incomplete without women achieving financial independence. Women's self-help groups make it possible for housebound women to come together and do things that give them income as well as a sense of satisfaction. Tata Steel provides the start-up costs for these enterprises as well as training and contacts within the marketplace to make them entirely self-sufficient. The new greenfield integrated steel plant, when completed and in full production, will certainly keep the fundamental values and principles of the founding father alive, and the communities in the neighbourhood as well as the society at large are destined to benefit in large measure. The company remains committed to a prosperous and sustainable future. The company fully welcomes and embraces its responsibility towards the environment, local communities and society as a whole, so that the future can be enjoyed by the children of today.